I thought I would do this Facebook Live as an addition to, or just to help you guys a little bit with how to survive the holidays. That's the name of the workshop that I'm doing this Saturday. But I want to give you some strategies that you can use to go through the rest of the year. And I'm talking about all the holidays. I'm talking about Thanksgiving. I'm talking about Christmas, New Year's Eve, whatever it might be. That might be the problem for you. You can take this and you can use it on any sort of event that is happening that you feel like you're struggling with. So everything that I'm going to teach you in this live are things that we are going to go through on the workshop on Saturday. So you can take all of the stuff that I'm going to talk about today. You can go and work on it on yourself, or work on it on your own. Or if you want to, if you have the time and if you're free on Saturday, you can just join the workshop and we will get all of this done in 2 hours. And I'm going to make sure that you get it all right and that you can walk out of there feeling confident that you have a plan that is going to work for you. What I want to start with saying is that the problem with the holidays isn't that there is food everywhere or that there are people that think that you should do a certain thing or you should eat or behave in a certain way. The problem is entirely in your head, is what you are thinking about these things. Because if you think that all of these things cause you problems, you're going to have problems, but it isn't true. These are just circumstances in your life that doesn't actually mean anything until you're thinking certain things about them. So you are always the one who is in control of your choices. And you need to take that information. You need to remember that you are the one who's in control. It might not always feel like it, and I get it. Sometimes when I had like these cravings, it would feel like the craving was so strong and it kind of took over my body almost. Like I'm not blacking out, but it's like it's zoning out from everything else. The only thing that matters right now is to get sugar. What you need to do is recognize that you are the one who has the power to choose. You're the one who's in control here. You can choose what you want to do. You can always choose to eat certain foods, whether those are foods that you think that you shouldn't eat or should eat. If you want to have a little bit, if you want to be moderating during the holidays, you can do that. But what you need to do is that you need to have sort of a plan. You need to know how to deal with it. And you need to change how you're thinking about it. If you think about eating something in moderation, like having a slice of pie or whatever it might be, if you think about that as a failure, you're going to start beating up on yourself and you're going to feel very down about it. And that is not going to help you to go back to eating the way that you want to eat, because all of a sudden you have created this whole situation where you believe that you have failed, even if you plan for it. So a lot of this is about what you believe about the situation, what you believe about yourself, what you believe about your behavior. And this is what makes the difference between someone who is a moderator or who has learned to be a moderator like me. I can go in, I can eat something, and I don't make it mean that I'm an addict or that I have failed or whatever. It's just a meal. It's just something that I chose to do in that moment. What I don't do is make a plan to not have something and then break that plan, because that is a typical addict behavior, what I would do all the time when I was just totally up in the sugar. So the very first thing that you need to do is to identify what your problem really is and why that is a problem for you. So I'm going to give you an example. I have a client that has a problem. He eats well almost all the time. It's not a problem. But if he is with other people, if he's around other people and they are eating something, they're having something nice, like ice cream or whatever it might be, the problem for him isn't that he wants the ice cream. The problem for him is that he's thinking that if he doesn't eat the ice cream, he's going to destroy the mood in the room. So he needs to do whatever everyone else is doing, otherwise he destroys the mood, which is a false belief. So as long as he believes that this is the truth, he will want to continue doing it. Because if he doesn't, he destroys the mood. Now, this obviously isn't true, and he knows that it's not true, but it feels so true when you're all up in it and when that is your belief. You need to get to the root of the problem, which is, what is it that you really believe deep down? What is it that you are scared of will happen if you do or stick with your diet, if you eat the way that you want to do. This is where you need to get to, and this is what you need to identify and start working on. So the second step that you need to do is following straight on to this. First, you need to identify what the actual problem is. And this might sound a little bit dumb, but many people don't even think about what it is that they want, right? They know what they don't want. They don't want to eat. They don't want to go off track. They don't want to go on a binge. They don't want, and so on. If you don't even know what it is that you're looking for, like where you want to arrive, what it is that you want to do, you're not very likely to do it because you don't even know what it is. How are you going to be able to do it, right? So you need to know what it is that you want to do. Like, what is the behavior that you want to exhibit? What do you want to feel when you're doing it? Who do you want to be? Let's say you're going to Thanksgiving's dinner tomorrow, next week. How do you want to show up? How do you want to feel when you're there? How do you want to feel when you say that I don't want any pie or I don't want mashed potatoes or whatever it might be that you don't want to eat? These are the things that you need to think about. You need to have a vision of who you want to be and how you want to show up when you're there. Then you have something to work towards. If you're just working on avoiding things, it doesn't really matter where you arrive. The brain is getting confused because it doesn't really know what it is that you want. So if you don't want to be that person who eats against her own will as soon as someone suggests that she should have pie or whatever, you need to know, like, what type of person do you want to be? If you don't want to be that person, what person do you want to be? So you need to figure that out. There's a book, pretty good book by Benjamin Hardy, which is called Personality Isn't Permanent. He talks about that you get to choose who you want to be. Just because you've always been doing something in a specific way and other people might have a picture of you as being someone who is whatever, it doesn't mean that you need to continue being this person. You can literally overnight change your personality by choice. Yes, it's going to feel uncomfortable because you haven't done it before. Your nervous system is used to you doing things in a certain way. It's going to feel strange doing it in a different way. But you can do that. You can do that at any time. And this goes for the food as well. So this is something that we do spend a little bit of time on in the workshop because you need to know this when you start putting together your plan. If you just put together a plan and you don't know who you want to be, you don't know how you want to feel, you don't know anything, you don't really know what you're working towards. The third thing that you need to do is putting the plan together. But you need to do it taking into consideration who you want to be and how you want to feel when you execute the plan. If you put together a plan and it's making you super anxious and you have a lot of negative thoughts about it, you're not going to want to do it. So you need to either make a plan that you feel really good about, or you make a plan and then you work on your thoughts to learn to feel really good about it. So you can do it either way. So once you know who you want to be, how you want to feel, you get to work and you design this plan. You might decide exactly what foods you want to eat. And if there are foods that you don't normally eat, you can decide how much of that food you want to eat. And just know, like, yeah, I am going to have one slice of pie and it gets to be roughly this big or whatever. Like, you get to decide. I don't recommend that you bring the scales with you, but, have an idea about how much you're going to eat. Are you going to have a second portion of pie? Yes or no? You know this before you go there. Because if you haven't decided on that before you go there, and you start thinking about it, you are going to have a second slice of pie because your thoughts are going to tell you that, oh, well, we already had pie, so I could have taken a bigger piece the first time, but I didn't. So it's kind of just like pie, doesn't matter. And all of a sudden, you're on a roll, you start eating, and then having a second slice of pie might bleed into the next day. Oh, well, I already blew it yesterday, so I may as well continue now, and off you go. Also, what I want to say is when you decide how much you want to eat or what foods you want to eat, decide how you want to feel when you're doing that. Do you want to feel relaxed? Do you want to feel confident? How do you want to feel? Because you don't want to sit there and feel resistance and resentment and wishing that you could have more pie. That's not how you want to feel. That's not going to help you. So you need to take those emotions into consideration as well. If you want to feel good and confident about your decision, you're going to have to do some work on that before you attend the dinner or whatever. Otherwise, chances are that when you get there, what's going to happen is that you're going to start babbling. When there are opportunities for you to eat off plan, the brain is going to be like, I wonder if we should have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I'm not going to have too much of it. And that chatter is just going to start up. And you want to avoid that as much as possible. That's why we do this workshop. Is like we're working out everything ahead of time so that you come prepared to this event, whether you attend the workshop or not. Do this before you go there. Like, give yourself enough time to work through all of these things before, so that you can go in and feel really confident about what you're doing. And this leads me to the final point that I wanted to discuss. And this is that things don't go according to plan most of the time. So you can make a list of everything that you can possibly think of that could go wrong during this event, that could trip you up. Anything. And then when you have this list, let's say you identify 15 things, I want you to take those 15 things and come up with a solution for each of those things. And also include emotions there. How do you want to feel when you are doing it? So if the problem is that, I don't know, Uncle Harry turns up with your absolute favorite treat, what do you want to do? Are you going to eat it or you're not going to eat it? Those are the first choices that you can make. Maybe you decide that, okay, well, it's my favorite treat in the whole world. I'm definitely having some. Okay, be at peace with that. Don't feel as if you fail because now you included it in your plan. So if he comes with your favorite treat and you eat it, all is good. But if you decide that you're not going to eat it, then be at peace with that. Then you need to work through that. And then you do this for every single thing that you think might trip you up. It might sound tedious, it might sound excessive, but this is going to make a difference. If you can foolproof your plan, you're going to be prepared for anything that can happen. You are so much more likely to be able to execute your plan the way that you want to do and stay on track with your diet and live with integrity. Do the things that you want to do and be the person that you want to be. When you're trying to wing it, which I'm an expert at, I want to wing everything, I don't like preparing, you are much more likely to fail. And you're probably going to fail if you don't do it and if you have done it in the past, because you're going to let that mean that I can't do it. Find those solutions to all those things and walk yourself through each and every single thing. If you have thought through the scenario before you get there, it's like you have practiced it in your mind already. Your mind doesn't know the difference between what you're thinking and what is actually happening. So if you have imagined the scenario and you've been thinking through it, okay, this is how I'm going to do it, this is how I'm going to feel. When you come there and it actually happens, it's going to be so much easier for you to do because your brain thinks that you have already done it before and you didn't die. So we don't have to be scared of it. It all worked out. So this is a really good exercise to visualize. And that's going to help you not just react in the moment, which you've probably done in the past. And me as an ex-sugar addict, yeah, I've reacted to all sorts of food in the past. A lot of the time, I still get the urge to want to do that sometimes. And the more you practice not doing it, the more likely you are to choose that behavior. This is your sort of backup plan or your bulletproofing your plan, which will just help you to stick with it, even if things don't play out the way that you expected them to. So if you want to stay on track with your diet for the rest of the year and the rest of the next year, maybe, you need to work through these things. You need to find the things that are holding you back right now and start looking at them. If you go unprepared, you are most likely going to struggle. But when you prepare beforehand, you already know what you want to do. Your focus will be on acting the way that you want to act and not just taking any opportunity to eat whatever is put in front of you. When you want to start being and living into your true self and you focus on that is important to you, the other circumstances, the food, the people, the pressure, whatever it is, not going to feel as important anymore. So if you're free this Saturday between 2 and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, join the workshop. We'll go through all of this, get it all done in 2 hours. It's going to make it so much easier for you to come prepared and since I'm going to walk you through all of it, I will make sure that you don't miss anything, that we have every single thing that I've talked about and a few other things that I haven't talked about. You will have your plan ready, you will feel good about it, and you're going to be ready to go. You have something to work on. If not, take this stuff, practice it, write it down, and get going. So now, if you have any questions, let's take some questions, and I'm going to read the comments that have come in so far.